Hey. I'm fresh off making an RTA video, so my blood's pumping. My heart is pounding, and I'm pissed. But I actually want to talk about something a little bit more fun, and that's my prediction for the next collab in Summoner's War. Before we do, if you have a moment to interact with the channel, like, comment, subscribe, all that. Also, remember we have the Discord and the guilds, so if you'd like to join, just join the Discord in the link below. Let's get to it. So honestly, I think based on the most recent collabs, right, I think Summoner's War is actually getting very lucky and very profitable from anime collabs. The Demon Slayer collab did overall pretty well with some pretty interesting units like Light Pig and Dark and Light Zenny. What's her name? Nezuko. And the JJK collab, you know, Tetsuya is one of the most used units, or Fire Megami is one of the most used units in RTA right now. So I think both of those have led me to the conclusion that the next collab, if not another game, and part of me is like, would they do a Marvel collab? I don't think so, but I think the next collab, if it is anime, and I'm hoping, would be Dragon Ball Z. So I'm hoping that Dragon Ball Z would be actually, I'm not the biggest Dragon Ball fan, but that being said, I think it is the most interesting anime that they could do with a smaller cast. And by that, of course, I mean smaller cast of characters. So I kind of have this idea for a wish list / an idea of the characters they could introduce and sort of the predictions around their skills, their passives, things like that. I'm not going to go through all of the elements, but I will go through like the light and dark monster that I think they would potentially give away for free, as well as go through some of the cast that I think that would be a part of this collab as well. But I think, a lot of people are like, oh, we'd like to see Bleach or something else. I think Dragon Ball has a small enough cast that they can make it work a little bit more efficiently. So I think it would be pretty cool, starting with the free unit, right? I think there are 2 units they would give away for free. Either Goku, which they didn't give away a Tanjiro for free, so it feels like a little less case. But I could see something like Frieza being a light unit. So, what if we introduced like Frieza, who had like a death beam, was like skill 1. And I wrote down some ideas like Frieza pierces the target with a single hit that does damage based on attack. There's a 15% chance he sends more than 1 beam because, I'm basing all of these skills off of powers in the anime or in like, the wiki, the fandom wiki about what they can do. So he sends off more than 1 beam, max of 3, and then each hit has the ability to leave the slow effect for 1 a turn. Then I thought about like skill 2, the Death Saucer. It looks a lot like Destructo Disc from Krillin, but essentially he would hurl 2 flying discs that attack the target with damage based on attack, and it won't land as a glancing hit. So basically, the unit they would give for free is kind of like Sukuna in the sense that it is just pure damage, but there is the potential, for a free LD essentially, because last collab with Demon Slayer, they gave away a wind unit, and before that, they gave away Sukuna, which was a dark unit. And then skill 3 would be like, Frieza fires a full-powered energy wave at the Tark based on attack, and it has a 70% chance to strip ability effects and leave the branding effect. So it's kind of like Lamelia in the sense that, it does a lot of damage, but you would probably need some defense breaker setup to do a lot. So that's like my idea for the free unit. The other free unit, if they wanted to give a dark unit away, could be Goku Black. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the anime, Goku Black is just another version of Goku. I won't spoil the anime. I figured, he could have things like Sickle of Sorrow, attacks the target, leaving the block heal effect with a 40% chance, and then each hit has the chance to destroy the target's health by 5%. And that's his like either the sickle blade that he has on his arm, or if he had like the scythe. Then I had things like Black Kamehameha, where it attacks the target with damage proportionate to speed, ignores defense, things like that. His passive could be like Super Saiyan Rose, and it activates when Goku Black drops below 50% health. I would love for them to see dynamic units, because when you think about the dynamic units that exist now, really the only one that kind of exists is the Beast Riders, where they drop from their mount. As far as I know, and it'd be cool to see like the whole part of the anime is when Goku is on his last leg, he always finds a new power up. So it could be cool to see something like that. Then, of course, for the elements, I think they could add Goku, Vegeta, Broly would be a pretty cool, maybe free unit, although it would probably, just basing off color scheme, be wind. He could, they could have different, and then, they could add like Gohan and Piccolo, but honestly, I think they would, now that I think about it, I think they would add Piccolo. So, like Goku could have attacks like instant transmission, which is basically just a teleport punch for skill 1. And then they can include some sort of Kamehameha. And then the fire, because based on color scheme with red, he could have Kaioken times 10. And maybe the light unit looks like UI Goku, and he's got like the torn up clothes, and he does Spirit Bomb or Dragon Fist from like Dragon Ball Z. And then, he can have stages of Super Saiyan based on the damage that he has taken. Again, I think it would be really cool if they added more dynamic units that change based on their level of play throughout a match. And they have some of that now where like Monkey gets stronger, Fire Monkey gets stronger as the match goes on. But it would be cool to see like units physically change. For things like Vegeta, they could do like his high kick. There's that moment where he kicks Goku like straight up. I think that could be like a skill 1. Of course, I think they'd have to incorporate Final Flash and Big Bang Attack. It would also be cool to see Super Saiyan God, because we saw that in the Broly movie very briefly. Or things like Majin Vegeta with his like self-destruct, similar to Light Robo. And then for Broly, I was thinking things like Legendary Super Saiyan, Energy Volley, Eraser Cannon, Eraser Blow, and then a move just called Kakarot. Exclamation point. The reason I sort of started thinking about this is because obviously a collab is going to come soon. They wrapped up, and we're probably within the next month going to get the Summoner's War versions of the Demon Slayer units. So they're getting ready. I'm sure the well is drying up at Com2uS, so they want to make money. And at this point, I believe that it will be another anime collab based on the success of the other two. That being said, let me know your thoughts, if you think a character should be included. I'm curious your thoughts, predictions for the next collab as we get ready to move forward into the next chapter of Summoner's War. And hopefully the 11 year has some more interesting stuff, because the 200 scrolls for free did not itch my brain in the way I wanted it to. So let me know your thoughts. Best of luck in your summons, and I'll catch you in the next one.